Ladies and gentlemen, we're back from our long, not even sure what you want to call it.
I
Our
hate
we'll say it's a hiatus. That's the word. Attaboy, Scott. Already picking up for
I'm
me right
back.
now. But we are back with another episode of Kings of Queen City. I'm Eli. This is Scott. And we have a ton of stuff to catch up on. Last episode was June 17th. I was graduating college. Scott was starting a new job. Jake's currently in the process of moving. So it has been a wild time for us. So without further ado, we're going to hop back into it. Pretty much the main thing we're going to talk about, not main thing, but the first thing we're going to talk about is the Cincinnati Reds trade deadline just came and went. And I mean, to kind of capitalize and pretty much give you the synopsis, the Brandon Drury, one of the guys the Reds just traded, just had a grand slam in his first at bat with his new team. So that shows you how well it's gone. But just to do a quick rundown of pretty much the main acquisitions that happened is the Reds traded Luis Castillo to the Mariners for four prospects. The main guy in the thing was shortstop. I don't even know how to say his first name. Marte.
Is it Marte? Yeah.
Yeah, Marte was the main guy there. Also traded for another shortstop and then two pitchers. That was the 30th, and then out of nowhere, the Reds ended up trading Tommy Pham for a player to be named later. So we still don't know who that is, and to the Boston Red Sox. That kind of came out of nowhere. No one really expected that, if I'm being honest. And then they traded Tyler Mahle to the Twins for Spencer Steer, Christian Encarnacion Strand, and Steve Hajar. Then they ended up trading Brandon Drury to the Padres for Victor Acosta. And then the Reds traded for a catcher for some cash. And that's pretty much it. They brought back up the boy. Oh, Nake went to the Mets. You're right. I completely forgot about him. Nake went to the Mets. But the main thing, brought back up our boy Aquino. We're hyped for that.
Oh yeah. So maybe he hit a home run or something.
Oh, I
saw on Twitter he was back, and everyone was like, "Oh, cool."
Yeah, he had a single in his first AB that brought him two, so that was fine.
Shows how much I've followed the Reds.
I mean, yeah, I don't blame anybody. I have not. I've paid attention more just because since graduating, I've had a lot more free time, and there's always a baseball game on. So I always throw the Reds on. And I mean, the weird thing is they've been like winning, so that's what I like. It kind of weird, and they've like won against good teams. They've won like 5 of the last 6 series, I think, and like they're not all against bad teams.
I read a stat that since that, they started 3-22. I read since that we're 39-39, so we're 500.
Yeah, if you don't shit the bed in the beginning, maybe you're not sellers. You're probably
just because I'm not like the biggest baseball guy, I didn't know they added another wild card team.
Mm-hmm.
So we would have made the playoffs last year.
Yeah,
so we just stood pat.
If you ran it back, yeah, you're probably going to make playoffs.
But nah, why run it back when you can rebuild and have every single shortstop of all time?
Yeah, well, I think what'd you say, Scott, that how many of our top prospects are shortstops?
It's like 9 of the top 15 are middle infielders or something.
Yeah.
I wish Jake was here. He'd know like the real answers. But
he really would. Yeah, Jake said that it's not as big of a deal as we think, that young shortstops have a lot more athletic versatility, so they can kind of play anywhere. So I'm definitely down for that, especially having to see Moose and Gino trade at shortstop 2 years ago. I'm kind of fine with that.
We traded Drury. Moose is probably the everyday third baseman.
I think he said Farmer is.
Oh, because they brought Barrero up?
I think Farmer's...
What happens if this Barrero kid is just like actually the true
stud
shortstop?
That'd be sweet. I mean, yeah, but I mean, you'd rather have that happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
it's just
he was supposed to be really good, and then he got injured. He was doing really well, and then he got injured, and then he was like sucking shit. I remember hearing. Yeah. I'm cussing a lot already doing this podcast. Sorry, everybody. We're back from break, but I'm excited to see how he plays. At least Jake was talking. He was saying he's the truth pretty much before, but Jake was pretty stoked. He said that this is like a franchise kind of changing trade, everything they did, and I don't disagree. I think it's just hard with baseball. I mean, that's kind of the reason I'm not a big. I mean, you see Scott and I right now. Unless you're not watching on YouTube, we're both wearing Bengal stuff, but I don't know. I can never get into baseball as much just because there's no instant gratification. The Bengals had the top 5 pick last year, and then we're in the Super Bowl. That's never happens in baseball. That just doesn't happen. So you draft guys and you trade for guys, and then it's like, I'll see you. We're like, Reds are winning 2026 World Series, baby.
Yeah, I don't even think like yeah, I'm just not the biggest baseball guy. Like I always care about the Bengals way more anyway. But
Yeah.
like with baseball, my thing is like I'll watch the Reds pretty much every night when like they halfway resemble a decent team. Like
Yeah.
if there's a sliver of hope, like I'll end up getting into it. But like baseball's just it's so slow that it's like, why am I gonna watch this slow sport where the team I want to win sucks? Like I don't get into it.
It was
But
pretty funny because I watched them a lot more when they were in their 3 and like 27 run than I have now that they're like being
oh
good.
yeah, I don't think I went to a couple games with I went to a game with Jake and I went to a game with some other but with some of our other like mutual buddies.
Yeah.
But it's like aside from that, I don't think I've really watched more than like 5 innings since we were like 3 and 20 something.
Yeah. It was pretty
It's just like
comical though, like watching them early. Like they would just find ways to lose games.
yeah, it's crazy. But so like with baseball, like you traded for all these prospects, and Twitter was all like the Reds are having like a great deadline where they're selling everyone and getting great pieces, and it's just like you know what? Yeah, like sick. I hope they're doing something good and it works out. But like I can't just get myself excited to follow a team that won't be good till 2026. It's like
Yeah.
they're just it's gonna take a couple of years. And it's just like I'll watch the soccer team that's historically atrocious that now is only
Yeah.
slightly atrocious.
It's hard because I saw Ben Verlander, who's one of like the main analysts now. He said that like the Reds won the trade deadline pretty much. And again, like it's awesome to hear that stuff. But like normally when you hear that in other sports, it's because you're going to compete now.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas like you're not going to for the near future. You're probably going to suck for the next 2 years, maybe 3 or 4. Like you could maybe see them. I think they could take a bigger jump than maybe we're expecting in the next year or two, just because of the fact they have like a few electric pitching prospects. So I
Well,
would say that can help you, but then it depends on kind of what you do for agency.
also the fact like we like how we think of this team and like how bad they are this year. Like I think we're in third place.
Yeah, we are in third place. We just passed the
So,
Cubs.
yeah,
Like
maybe
it sounds, it's almost
those other
insurmountable in
teams can
baseball.
outsuck us.
Yeah, they're only 14 games back of first place in the division. So like
Wow.
that's pretty insurmountable in August, but like still, that's
You
especially
know
where they
what?
were, doesn't sound bad.
You know what sucks? Like, let's say I like just hypothetically, like the Reds won like 10 of 12, and like they cut it to like 9.
Yeah.
Like, I'd probably have to start watching again. I'd just be like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, just to get your heart
What are we
broken.
doing?
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Scott, you said you had some takes about it?
I mean, yeah, it's just like everyone said we won, like that's great, but like I can't get myself excited for 4 years from now. Like
Yeah.
like just think about it. Like, okay, so the next time the Reds win, like the Reds could be good. Like, what are you going to be up to? I don't know.
I
Like
couldn't tell you.
3 years from now, like our lives will look drastically different.
I could have a child. Who knows?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I can't just get juiced up for it, especially when the team I care about way more in general. But like, just the other team in the city is. I mean, I think everyone feels the next 3 years are like it could be title time. Like,
Yeah, I really wonder. Like, I it shouldn't have had any like carryover just because that's not good business. But like, I really wonder if they kind of just realized that like the city would kind of be riding high on the Bengals, and they were kind of like, we're not gonna be the center focus anyways. So like, let's just kind of kick the
like
can.
I thought about that and I get it, and maybe I'm just off, but like, look at our generation. Like, I feel like Cincinnati fans, like the Reds were always, the team. Like our
Yeah,
generation, it's now the Bengals. Like stamped, it's done.
yeah,
Like, yeah, like so the one time everyone's getting so excited and you're just gonna punt it away. It's
yeah,
like I think it'll hurt the like fans. Like, I mean, baseball is also a sport though where like it's you're not they aren't you don't have diehard fans going to your home games. Like
yeah. It's just you have so
you
many. It's
go
so
to a
hard.
game because yeah, it's summer. It's something to do. You have
Yeah,
fun, hang out with your friends. Like there's not some guy shirtless screaming for 3 hours.
I don't know. I went to the Marlins game last Thursday, and there was a guy pretty much in full uniform sitting pretty close behind me.
Love to meet him.
It was electric. I'm not gonna lie.
Character.
He was living and dying with every pitch. It was pretty great. I won't lie. But Jake's kind of that guy. Jake goes to games by himself.
Yeah, Jake's really into him, and I hope, like, I
respect
hope we get good. Like, I hope we get good.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I say it is like, I actually was having the conversation with a buddy, like, of sports I follow. Like, obviously, like, the Reds are one of, like, my favorite 2, 3, 4, 5 teams, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, like I'm always gonna really support the Reds, but like, baseball's in like my 5 to 6 range for favorite sports. Like, I'm just not that into it. So like, I cheer for my team, but like when the Reds stink, I don't care. Like, I'm not tuning into the Sunday night baseball game or any of the like national averages. Just not.
I'm trying to think about where it falls in my list. Are we just talking like pure sports or like league?
So like, well, I'll tell you mine. So like, above baseball for sure, I would have both footballs, like NFL and college. Can't be touched. And then I really love hockey. F1's up there for me. UFC's above both of those.
You're so boring, Scott. You just said F1 and you said baseball's boring? My guy.
F1's awesome, dude. It's obviously soccer's way above all those too. But F1's like soccer to me, where you wake up on a weekend. Like, been great. I'm up pretty early. So like, it's just always on. It's like, 8 a.m. Like,
okay,
the sport on, let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much the last thing I have for the Reds is pretty much just an outlook for the season. I mean, it's really just about prospects at this point, seeing how guys are playing. It's going to be basically watching the minor leagues, if I'm being honest. There's a guy, De La Cruz, he's with the Dragons right now, I believe. Apparently, he's electric.
He hits bombs.
Yeah, he's shortstop prospect, so I don't know. I mean, you've got to assume a lot of these guys are going to move. Like, the outfield is completely depleted at this point. So I think they're going to try to teach people how to play outfield. It's kind of my...
Yeah, and like these shortstops, like, they're like the athlete almost. Like, they can play.
Exactly.
But like, it's just funny. Like,
it's hilarious.
It's just funny. Like, they just only traded for shortstop. So like, that's all we need.
I'm trying to count the draft. They traded for 1, 2.
2 from the Mariners, 1 from the Twins.
1 from the Padres, so they traded for 4.
You already had Barrio, you already had De La Cruz, you already had McLean. So that's 7 shortstops we just named.
Yeah, and then they traded for a second baseman in the Naquin trade.
Yeah.
So the middle infield was crazy.
The pessimistic part of me, like the whole rebuild things, because we don't want to pay people.
Yeah.
A lot of middle infielders.
It'll be interesting. So let's
India. That'll be an interesting conversation.
It makes me sad. And then we also have the Stevenson talk. We'll talk about that real quick. Scott hates our boy Stevenson.
That's not true. I hate the fact he plays catcher.
I've also said,
dude, he's always hurt. He's always hurt.
I have said that to Jake a few times. I think that's a smart decision, especially when Joey decides to hang it up. I think that makes a lot of sense. He's probably your second to first best bat.
Don't make DH if you have to. Like,
he doesn't want a DH.
His use is his bat, and like, he was hurt twice before the break or whatever, so didn't play a ton.
Yeah.
And when you get back from the All-Star break and he got hurt on like the 7th pitch back.
Yeah, I think that was that was a collision. Yeah.
Well, I wasn't watching, but like,
I think this one was a collarbone, and that was a collision, and then he broke his
like 2 or 3
finger.
concussions.
Yeah, he's had a concussion, and then he broke his finger early, but that was on he got hit by pitch.
I think he had a concussion last year though too, where he missed.
I believe so. Yeah, so he's got a lot of injuries. Like I definitely
like catcher. It's the most.
I agree with you.
Position, I guess
it's not ideal. He's your first or second best bat, especially as of late on the team. So I would love to see him more in the everyday lineup. That's why I said the first base thing. I disagree with your take that he's not a good catcher. I think he's a good catcher. But I think I think it's going to depend on how baseball goes, if I'm being honest, because if they go to a automatic like strike zone thing, I don't think it's worth having him back there, because then it's not going to matter about having a defensive catcher, because at that point, like, all you need is a guy who can throw down, because you're not going to be framing pitches anymore.
I mean, the other one with that too is though, like, when they decided this rebuild in the winter was going to go down, like, They traded the catcher that played over. Like, I get Stevenson's young, but he's a way better bat than Barnhart. Like, he was
Oh,
a way
100%.
better bat than Tucker Barnhart.
Yeah.
But Tucker played over him because he was that much better of a fielder. Like, Tucker was a great fielder, though. But, like, and you traded him for a bag of peanuts. So,
Yeah, I don't even know what they got for that trade, but nothing.
yeah, probably a shortstop.